Well, hey everybody, this is the Bachelor Pad. I am back from the luxurious Red Room. We are doing a little home recording today. Wanted to get into a couple things. Obviously, the Bachelor Pad radio Facebook page. I try and keep up to date and put anything that I see that's topical or something that I do want to talk about throughout the shows. Um, first thing that we posted on July 16th, 3 days ago, was the Conor McGregor FU shirt. Love the FU shirt. I'm kind of a fan of Conor McGregor's when it comes to MMA. As far as the boxing, I won't be the first one to put it out there, but I've talked to everyone who will listen, and everyone I'm talking to believes he's going to shock the world. I've been a boxing fan for forever. I do understand the sweet science, boxing, ring generalship, defense, all the things that go into being a proper boxer. And, as much as everyone would like to see two yahoos sit and punch each other in the head repeatedly and see which one falls down from a concussion, that's awesome, but that's not boxing. Um, I'm about as sure as an individual can be that in the under the confines of boxing, Mayweather is going to handily, beat McGregor. It's going to be ridiculous. If McGregor can, I also, something came to me the other day that I believe there's possibility that there's going to be a disqualification. Somebody will get rough, a la Mike Tyson, grab, throw into a corner, something along those lines. I don't believe it's going to be pretty. Obviously, it's not two seasoned boxers, it's an MMA fighter and whatever. But the pinstripe shirt that he's wearing, he's got it in a V-neck t-shirt. I don't know if it's 100% real, but if it is, I want it. I want it. The pinstripes, almost in the Matrix, sizing of going up and down, basically spell out, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. It is pretty awesome. The suit was extremely gangster. That was probably the most gangster suit I've ever seen in my life. I would wear a suit every day if it was pinstripe with FU. Generally not my take. I'm a pretty nice guy. I don't wander around saying FU, FU. But I think it is pretty awesome. I do like that it is it is a thing. So the t-shirt version I will be looking into 100% to see if it is actually acquirable. If not, I know people that make and produce shirts and whatever, and having that in my repertoire of t-shirts would be spectacular. Another thing we posted, I think we posted a day or two after, fellas, that girl that you think is out of your league. She's not. Go for it. It's got a picture of a young Jay-Z, a young Biggie Smalls, a couple other individuals. If you dig into their, the actual article, and you look at them and you look at the female is right underneath who they end up with. Faith Evans, Beyonce. There is something to be said. I use the term a lot. I've used it in the majority of my dating career because I'm an odd fellow. Red hair. I was outside in the sun for possibly 10, 15 minutes today. Just doing some stuff in the backyard, preparing for when the sun does go down. I'm like a vampire. I've got to do some landscaping in the front. I had all my shrubs and bushes pulled, so I've got to put all the brick pavers and everything back. I know better than to go out. It's hotter than a witch's titty in Michigan today. Anyone who thinks global warming is not real, the fact that people in Michigan are actually looking at buying a pool that you used to be able to use maybe 1 month out of the year is a real thing. Like, people are looking to buy pools, so it's a thing. But yes, she's out of your league. There is something, obviously, when you look at a young Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, and when you look at some of these individuals, they are not extremely attractive people, right? So there goes to the motivational speaking side. Be good or be the best at whatever you can be. So if you're in mortgages, right, you're just a normal mortgage guy who gets up and goes home. Be the best. Work longer hours. There is a certain amount of confidence that plays into your generalized attractiveness. When you know you're good at something, or you're the best in your field, or the best in your craft. I don't care if you're a cook. If you're a bomb ass cook, word gets around, right? Like, you wouldn't think a cook at a random restaurant, is going to get all that much fanfare. but even on smaller level celebrity, even when I was doing radio locally here in Detroit, there was a thing that, oh, you're that guy on the radio. You're pretty funny. Dude, I like what you do. Even if the people don't know or don't listen to you, but once they hear you getting some kind of critical acclaim or some kind of acknowledgement by others, oh, he must be something. And that's when I first started to really notice it, that even if you have low level, I don't even want to call it celebrity or whatever you want to call it. But then there is something too that I don't care who you are. If somebody's giving you accolades over and over, even if you're being extremely humbled by it, like, oh, no, I do what I do, man. I try and have fun. Other people around you see you carry that certain amount of swagger, right? I'm not a fan of the word swagger, but there's a certain way you carry yourself in situations like that. Now, I've been doing a lot of dating out of my league in every way you could look at it. Number one, generalized attractiveness of the female, age of the female. I've been dating significantly younger by 10 to 15 years, partially because that's all I'm running into. I'm kind of shopping in one pond, and that's where the majority of the wait staff, that's their age. And don't get me wrong, I do it because they're also pretty awesome and obviously beautiful females. But it is weird once you get to know people in that certain... I had somebody ask me the other day, he was actually complaining, and we do quite a bit of the Bachelor Pad style dating and relationship help and advice. And the individual basically said, well, I give up. I've had it. I've tried everything. I've been put in the friend zone 20, 30 times. I'm over it. I can't get out of the friend zone. And the friend zone is a real thing. But I've also come to understand lately that it has a little bit more to do with being comfortable. There is a time frame within somebody getting to know you. I don't ask anyone out quickly. I try and kind of get to know them for a little while. Get to know them. I heard a couple females have a conversation like, hey, what about Jim? Did Jim ask you out? Or I saw him talking to you the other day, right? Just being a random patron at a bar or restaurant. And I'm friends with the other 2 or 3 young ladies. So as I'm listening to them have this conversation, the one common term I heard being used over and over was, I don't know. He seems like a nice guy, but I'm not that comfortable around him yet. So I mentioned to my friend who's a little beside himself because he can't figure out how to get out of the out of the friend zone. He's not understanding the value of even being in the friend zone, because being in the friend zone, I feel comfortable with this individual. Well, how do you get someone to feel more comfortable with you? Through repetition. You go to the same bar, restaurant, wherever. Most people have a pretty set schedule. So Friday night, I've never understood the go to this random place and that random place, like you're chasing a good time. Pick one place, pick one spot, go to that one spot, and through familiarity, you will begin to... You see the same waitress, right? You sit in the same waitress's section. Hey, Jim, how are you doing? Oh, not bad. It's Friday night. Come in, grab a bite to eat, have some drinks. You've got a couple friends with you. Bring complimentary friends, not necessarily your douchebag friends who, maybe joke around a little too much or take up the mainstay, right? You pick your friends that you go with wisely. Wingmen or wing women. Make sure that you have the proper people there that are going to accent or highlight your finer points. Or if you go in by yourself, right? Get accustomed to going in by yourself and flying in solo. You're there by yourself. You have a chance to talk and get to know the waitress a little bit. Oh, what do you do for work, right? Oh, that's what you do. You begin to ask questions, right? And don't expect anything to come of your first time there, your second time there. After a while, and this plays into multiple facets. Hey, who's that guy intersection? All of a sudden, the person that you've been making time with is now telling the other two, women talk just like we do. Oh, that's Jim. He works at Johnson Controls, and he's this, and he's cool. He's got a boat and whatever, But they begin to tell your story for you. It's weird that even you becoming familiar with that one individual or one young lady at the bar, then she begins to tell others. Now you have other ones that are just by proxy becoming more and more familiar with you. It makes it much, much easier. It's what I've been doing, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a great plan." It's really not a plan. If you take your ego out of it, I can't walk into places. I'm no Enrique Iglesias. I'm not some smoking hot male model guy that walks in and expects that you're going to talk to somebody for 15, 20 minutes or even over the course of an hour and, hey, give me your number and something's going to actually come of it. I like to, and call me weird or crazy or whatever, I like to actually get to know somebody a little bit before I'm even thinking about asking them out or going out on a date or doing other things with them. So that's part of the deal. And my friends seem baffled. Like, oh, so you go to the same place every Friday. You go every Friday. So you get to be friends with them. And I'm like, yeah, you have to actually get to be friends with them or friendly with them to even be in the friend zone. But generally, when you're in the friend zone or you've hit that level of comfortable, there's that level of acknowledgement that they have with you. All it takes is a couple too many shots that night, and believe me, half of the time that I'm out or dating or doing anything with it has alcohol involved. I don't like to drink. Like, drinking isn't a thing of mine. I have never had like an alcohol dependency or even like super issues with drinking. I drink because that's what the ladies do. If the ladies are drinking, I will drink. Ladies drink, they find me more funny, a little more topical, a little more you've got jokes, and you're comfortable. Hey, what are you doing after? Do you want to go have more drinks? Which I don't even know if consciously or subconsciously they know or understand, but that's going to lead to, oh, I'm comfortable with you, you're kind of funny. Let's just hang out and I'll crash here tonight, which is when shenanigans generally happen. So I kind of ran it down for my buddy. Another sidebar thing was telling him the part of being in better shape. I've eaten like crap the last 2 or 3 days. Haven't been grocery shopping. Obviously doing a lot of work around here, and I figured I've worked my balls off. I could probably eat, some extra carbs and do some stuff if I want to. But staying on a generalized work and exercise plan to where you're getting to that point, you're in better shape. So not leaving any stone unturned, even in sales. When you go out and I try and look at the store owner. It didn't matter if I was doing low-level sales or high-end distribution sales. I left no stone unturned to where when it got down, I couldn't leave the meeting, leave the interaction with a customer and go, oh, I didn't do everything right. Where one of those other finer points is staying in as good a shape as humanly possible. If you're in good shape, one thing I brought up to him was, it was easy for me because I looked around and I went, wow, I used to lift weights and, train like I was going to get called up for the Lions any day. And my body type is built for that. But I do realize the smaller and the skinnier I am, the better chance I have with the ladies and the more vagina I will acquire, right? Like if they were Pokemon cards, I would have a bunch more of them at 195 or 200 pounds versus 230, 240 pounds. It's a real thing. And I brought it to his attention. I went, hey, guy. I go, well, look at how we talk about women. And, oh, look at these girls. And, man, oh, she's cute or she's hot. But, man, her friends need to quit eating. Or, she's a little too thick around the waist for me. How do you think they feel about you? I identified this a long time ago when I would begin to look at, girl A or girl B. And in my mind, I'd be developing a weird, oh, that's great. I could see going out with her, holding hands, going to pumpkin patches, or no pun intended because I'm a redhead, pumpkin patches or, cider mill or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's the perfect mind's eye of a female I want to do stuff with. Like not even sex, but just other stuff with. And then I see her walk over and grab the hand of her boyfriend or whatever guy she's with. The guy walks out. He's 180, 190 pounds. Not too big, not too small. Average-looking guy. It seemed to be for a while the girls that I like dudes with Hurley shirts and the matching Hurley hat. I don't understand the whole Hurley thing, but I don't like those guys. I don't like them. I think they're kind of fucking dicks. They actually seem like pretty mellow dudes, but confident. I don't know whatever Hurley stands for, but there's a fucking level of confidence in there. Because all these ass rags seem to be going out with whatever girl or walking out of the bar. And the only thing I could immediately discern was, I'm not going to go buy Hurley clothing because I don't understand it and I don't get it. And number two, I need to go from 230 pounds down to like 205 or 200. 200, 205 for me is extremely thin. It makes me look small. I have weird, odd, sizes. So for me, that will look very, very small and thin. So we kind of went over some of those things earlier this week, which, it'll be a constant thing going into, whether I go out and talk to a girl, that same thing happens, and I find them going out with someone like, oh, look at their boyfriend, he's a skinny little douche rag, whatever. That's what they find attractive. That's who they want to cuddle up with at the end of the night. It's a 180, 190 pound guy. So what can you do? You can either go, oh, I'll never get those girls, or I'll never be around those girls, or you can go, all right, I need to drop a few pounds. And as you drop a few pounds and you drop weight and you get down to a lighter weight, 15, 20 pounds, whatever it may be, as you do that, if you notice, oh, I'm getting more attention from females, even if they're not pulling the trigger right away, and you're getting to know people, making them feel comfortable, doing all those things, the hammer will drop. You will get where you will get where you need to go. So that's just a couple things of dating out of your league, and understanding that they're not necessarily out of your league. Do the essential few things. If you're, talk highly about yourself. If you're in the if you're in the cell phone business, or you work for one of the major carriers, you're a product design engineer. You're not just some dude I'm not telling you to lie, but if you do stuff and you are good, carry that with you. You know what I mean? Suck it up, feel good about what you do. Be the best you can be, and strive for that, right? Believe me, the vibrato or whatever will carry along with you. Number 2, get in as good shape as possible. Even if, and I made a joke, something about this the other day where we were talking, I was like, look, can't change much about your face, right? I keep my hair cut, I try and do whatever. Your face is your face, kind of what you're born with. Your body you can change, right? If you get in better shape, you may find a few of these girls who go, oh, they're really into bodies. You've got some girls, pretty face, and you can be a tubby prick and be out of shape, and they'll still, mess with you, right? So play to the best ability you have, or just quit whining and make more money and become sugar daddy or sugar buddy to whoever, right? There's money involved in whatever relationship you're in, so deal with it and figure it out. So those are a couple things. I also found, as I was scouring through, and I posted to the Facebook Bachelor Pad, there's a park full of dicks in South Korea, right? It is literally a homage to, and just it's very bizarre. It's on the Bachelor Pad radio. It came from Unilad's video. That, I guess the story, and I breezed over it, right? Because I didn't want to read, a story about a bag of dicks or whatever. But there's a dude on the very front of it, sitting on it, riding almost, it looks like just a big stone sculpture of a penis, right? He's got his hat back like he's holding his hat. Looks like he's riding a bucking bronco. But there was a story of a young virgin that I guess threw herself, it was a fishing village, threw herself into the water. I don't know if it's because she was a virgin, like, I've had it, nobody will have sex with me, or number 2, she thought it would make the fish come. Well, there was a whole thing and a whole story and folklore that went along with it. And then there was a couple fishermen went, and it says they ejaculated into the sea and the fish came back, right? So everyone believed that if you jerk off and you throw it in the water, the fish came back. Oh, this is great. So somehow the folklore had built up that penises were good. Penises pointing in the direction of the water made the fish come back in a fishing village. So there are a ton of dicks. Ladies, if you're just in the mood to see random dick sculptures, this is the place for you. I don't know if I would advise taking a trip there to South Korea to see this, but there are a ton of women that visit this place. They seem to be enamored by the multi statues of penises everywhere. So kind of random and funny. And dick and fart joke humor seems to be one of the things we look at and touch, no pun intended, touch and penis on the Bachelor Pad quite a bit. There was another, and this is something I run into quite a bit through my not dating younger women, but as I begin to attempt to date women my own age. This drives me nuts. I look at a meme And I've had this argument and conversation with women that are in their 30s, maybe early 40s. I haven't really done the early 40s. I've tried, but I don't know where you find you. You're 40, you're sitting at home or you're grocery shopping. I don't know what it is you do. Or it looks like you go to Tough Mudders a lot. It seems like you like to run in mud. See a lot of late 30s and early 40s, like, oh, I can still do it. Which makes me remember earlier this week, saw a Snapchat after being out at the bar, and I guess I agreed to Tough Mudder. So who knows? Maybe I'll meet some 40-year-olds. Maybe I'll date within my own age range, give or take a few. So that Tough Mudder seems like 40-year-olds like to do it. In this meme, and it's on the Bachelor Pad Radio, I want to marry someone who loves Jesus more than me. Shows two people. He's holding the woman. She seems extremely gleeful. He's kissing her forehead. And then you have Stewie from Family Guy with a gun in his mouth, like, fuck my life. I can't believe I'm looking at this meme. A few of the girls that I've dated, and I also told my buddy from what I was talking about a few minutes ago, I go, look, if you don't want to try and date younger women, or you don't want to try and do this, I was like, dude, if you're in your late 30s, early 40s, whatever your age group, go online. That's where you're going to find it. But number one, you need to be in better shape so at least your pictures look good enough for them to be interested enough to click and begin a conversation online. So online seems to be the 30, 40s way to go, because if you're at a bar at 30, 40, both of you guys are horrible people, right? It could be one of them is divorced and whatever, but yeah, you meet somebody at that range, you're still rolling around in bars, kind of random. I go to one place because they have hot young girls there that are, in their mid-20s, and they seem to be nice and like to have drinks, and I can fall into that one day a week and make it happen. But I've talked to a few women that, number one, oh, I'm a Christian. I'm looking for a Christian man. By reading your profile, you're divorced, right? Either you're Christian or you're Catholic. You're divorced. Your first marriage didn't work out too well. That was a vow with God, right? You took a vow. You got married in front of a church and a priest or a pastor, or whatever it is you call those people. You did all this, and it just didn't work out, whether it was you or him or whatever. That's not the way I recall looking at the Bible and looking at marriage biblically. So this kind of fires me up a little bit. It gets me a little bit annoyed. So, I want to find someone who loves Jesus more than me and whatever, right? No, I don't know who it is you're marrying. Most of you have been divorced when I look at I'm divorced, I've got 2 kids. So now you want to get married again. You want to do something exactly the same as you did it last time and find somebody. If you haven't noticed, that shit doesn't work. You could both be pseudo-Christians, or I'm hard pressed to find anyone that I run into on a general basis that, I'm a Christian. Okay, so when do you go to church? You go to church on Sundays? Do you get Saturday or Wednesday services? Let me guess, you have premarital sex. You've been dating someone but premarital sex is okay. I don't know if you've looked at the doctrine of Christianity or Catholicism, at what the Bible, the Old Testament, or the New Testament, or whatever it is you believe, or if you're curtailing religion to whatever makes you feel. Like, I believe in God, so I can have anal sex on Wednesday. No, that's not the way it reads. It's sodomy. They're kind of against it. It's like turning right on red. Even though you can turn right on red at some points, but it says between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. you can't. But you turn right anyways. If you get a ticket, at least there's police out here to go, So it really just leaves me and other people that see your hypocrisy and your, I'm like, no, I had sex with you like 4 times last week. You're a Christian. You haven't been to church since I've known you, but we need to get married. And part of it is them wanting to get married. It would have to be one spectacular woman for me to ever sign my name on a legal contract with the state. And here's what I don't understand. Getting a marriage license. Why am I... It seems like I'm marrying the state and dealing with something along those lines. Imagine you're getting into a business endeavor, right? I've been in business for a few years now. You're getting into a business endeavor, and your business endeavor says, there's a 50% chance, literally a flip of the coin, that this business is going to fail. 1 out of every 2 fail. So 1 out of every 2 fail, and it's not only going to mess you up a little bit emotionally and kind of screw with your melon emotionally, it's also going to drain your pocketbook. So whatever money you invest into this business, you're going to lose that amount of money, or even that money and some more. Because if we haven't noticed that the marriage system is geared a little bit more towards the female. So you get in, you buy a house, you do X, Y, and Z. whatever money you came in with, you split it, and then heaven forbid if you were wrong or you were the one that wanted divorce, or if they're divorcing you, you've got to pay either alimony or restitution or some kind of crap. All I know is I came out of it like $13,000. I was married. I had the shortest marriage in history. 6 months. It actually wasn't a marriage. It was an annulment. She wanted an annulment just in case she could get married Catholic again. Like, sweetie, you did a lot of things that Catholicism is not cool with. Some of them were on Sundays right after, the 4 times we went to church in 6 years, or, in the middle of a week on a Wednesday. So that's kind of my rant on that. And it drives me nuts. I want to marry someone who loves Jesus more than me. And it goes back to that penis thing, right? The penis, South Koreans had a dude was a little too horny and jerked off into the friggin' water, and they believe that brought back the fish. So now they build half of an island and a beach with dick statues. That's the way simple-minded people that had no idea that it was just off season, right? There was something going on in the water that just wasn't right, or it was an El Nino where the water was too warm and the fish were out on a current that way. But no, you jerked off that a virgin threw herself in the water, you jerked off into it magically. What I would have thought that would have been more of, that would have created a mermaid, right? Like a fish would have got the jism, somehow did something and created virgin mermaids or whatever. That would be the exact same story that could be told of it. It has more logic in it than a couple Asian fishermen jerking off into the water and the fish came back. So that's my problem with religion. Somebody told a story a long time ago, even the ancient Greeks, like with Poseidon. Oh, we're out on the water. If the waters got rough and it was just a bad weather pattern, they went, oh, this is a bad weather pattern. Damn it, Jim, what did you do did you touch yourself in the bad place? Of course, how many people are you going to ask that in primitive times? Yeah, I did. Well, you pissed off Poseidon. Look, we're going to have rough weather, all this and that. You could find anyone who did something to somehow piss off the gods and would verify whatever your belief. Now that Poseidon was pissed and you're going to get storm weather and 12-foot waves crashing down on you. So that seems to be, the reason. So I don't know. That's my overall gripe with religion and shenanigans as far as some of that goes also. All right, so I'll stop griping about that. But those are just 3 of the things. Dating out of your league, the random island of penises. So thank you for letting me voice my opinions, because I can't keep that stuff bottled up all day, every day. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. I've got a few other segments that are gonna come down the line. But think about it: an island full of penises. You got to call shenanigans. If you do get a chance to go to the Bachelor Pad Radio, look at the amount of females, and Asian women seem to be really interested in odd things anyways. I wouldn't know. I can never get one. My brother got lucky enough to date one. None of them will stay around me long enough for me to actually develop a clear, consensus on what they're up to and what's happening. But I don't know. So the Asian women and the island of penis. Check out the article.